to the Big Levi. That's what they're calling it, Levi Stadium here. This was said before the game, the most important 49ers home game in Levi Stadium history. They've been there 4 years, the biggest game. Missed field goal right there by fill-in kicker Chase McLaughlin. Let's get to the Russell Wilson experience in overtime. After the Niners threw 3 times and gave the ball back to Russell Wilson at the end of overtime, Wilson makes them pay with the run. Let's bring out Jason Myers, the kicker, who had a rough game against the Buccaneers last week. Can he redeem himself with another big kick last night? This would be it. With no time left, the Seahawks go into San Francisco, knock off the 49ers, their first loss of the season. The big story, though, is not only Russell Wilson in that victory, it was Jadeveon Clowney absolutely dominating that offensive line from the San Francisco 49ers. Here he is, Jadeveon Clowney, after a huge win for the Seahawks.
It ain't over till it's over. I thought they could have won the game. They missed the field. I was so happy about that. Russ, we got it. We turned the ball over, going down for it. It was so much going on. It was the craziest game of my career, hands down. 4 or 5 quarters, I almost went to a tie. 4 quarters, and overtime went to a tie, and it could have been a tie, but we game out with a dub.
Yes, you did, and it was a wild one in the NFL. Week 10, a crazy game to end it all last night, and that means some big shakeups in the old Fight My 5 rankings for Week 11. So let's take a look first at the rankings from last week.
All right.
If you would. I think we had the Saints up top, right? Of course we did. They were on a bye. Can't, get mad at them for that going into this week. The Niners, the Patriots, the Ravens, and then the Seahawks. I notably left off the Packers in this one because it lost to the Chargers in brutal fashion. Now here are what I think are the best 5 teams in the NFL right now heading into Week 11. Okay, let's
Here we
do
go.
the slate. Tabula rasa.
Okay, weren't the Saints on a bye this week, too?
Yeah, okay. All right, we get it. At number 5, great segue, the New Orleans Saints. They fall from 5 to 1. Full moon, bad loss, Mercury.
1 to 5. Yeah.
That's what I meant. Mercury and retrograde.
Sure.
You know, I'm kidding. It was an absolutely atrocious, terrible loss. Offensive line's a bit of a concern, though. Sacks, 6 on Drew, tied for the most in a single game in his entire career. Woof! You guys are killing me. But I feel like they might have overlooked this game. They came off the bye, easy, sleazy, breezy. Too much of that Bridgewater slow walk that's been all over Twitter. The good thing here is that there is nobody I have more confidence in to turn this offense around than Sean Payton. They fall, though, yes, from 1 top spot to 5. At number 4, I'm going to go with the Niners.
Okay.
So they lost their first game of the season to the best, stiffest competition that they face. I have nothing but respect for them. They almost got the win despite no Kittle and Sanders, totally disrupting any consistency they could have on offense. No Quan, all of it's very impressive, but still, to me, the most untested quarterback of this bunch. Can't put them higher than this because at 3, I am putting the Seahawks. They beat them last night. They pulled it out. It doesn't always look pretty. It actually looks ugly a lot of the time. But is there anything scarier than a zombie who always comes back to life to haunt you?
Can't kill him.
That is Russell Wilson. He threw a pick in overtime, and the Niners still couldn't put him down. The defense, by the way, making plays when they need to. The pass rush is coming together. I had to put the Seahawks there. I'm more scared of them than I am the Niners after last night. At number 2,
the Pats.
I'm going to go with the Pats. Yeah, bye week following a loss to Baltimore. I know they'll likely return to the top spot after potentially more impressive wins. They've got good games coming up. The Chiefs, the Texans, the Eagles, and the Cowboys. But as far as sticking to my guns of favoring and liking teams that are balanced, that are complete, they're not the most balanced team in the NFL.
Who you got?
The Ravens.
Number 1.
The Ravens.
Wow!
The Ravens are number 1. Yeah. In a week of weird, uncharacteristic upsets, Goliath stayed Goliath, and they took care of business against the Bengals. Let's give them that glory.
Top spot. Drop them.
Ravens, yes!
Drop them. Marching
There we go. Okay. The questions that I have about New England, right? What's going on with your run game? Do you have a dynamic enough offense? Those are answered in spades by what Baltimore is doing. Their secondary is making play after play, Humphrey and Peters. So, yeah, this is it. Saints go from 1 to 5. Ravens go up. Packers still not on much.
Whoa.
What do you guys think?
Did you think? All right, so the Packers came back, beat a pretty good Panthers team. Did you think about putting them in? Was that a struggle, one of those?
I did. It was an awesome game. Aaron Jones, they got back to who they were. They, leaned on the run game a little bit more. Aaron Rodgers looks awesome, but the thing is, not everybody can be on this list. This is your argument all the time.
That's right.
Who are you going to take off? I can't take anyone off. When you lost inches, if even that, probably millimeters with Christian McCaffrey, you couldn't at Lambeau in a snowy game take care of the Carolina Panthers handedly. The way that they won that game takes them outside the top 5. What? Tell me what you think is so funny.
The Packers is very interesting.
Would you put the Packers in over the Saints? Are they a better team than the Saints?
The Packers beat a better team than the Panthers. The Saints lost to a bad team in the Falcons.
It's a tough loss.
But it's the Saints are still one of the better teams in the league. The Patriots.
What?
They're at number 2. Baltimore's at number 1. We all love Baltimore, but there's people at home that are like, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what's the argument for?
Because if they were, what did the Ravens do to pop up over
Right.
Patriots?
People are saying it's a bad Bengals
on a
team.
bye. It doesn't make sense. I think it is the fact that they're more complete. That's the point I already make. And really, if you look at where the Ravens sit, they beat this team and they beat this team.
I agree.
So if you're a team that beat 2 teams that I consider the best in the NFL, then you deserve top honors.
Good point.
I know we're prisoners of the moment here, and the Seahawks did beat the Niners, but the Niners only have 1 loss. Seahawks have 2. Seahawks I saw lose to Teddy Bridgewater at home. Like, hey, was last night enough to say Seahawks better team than Niners?
They've dealt with adversity on every level. So have they. It comes down to who do I trust more? It is always going to be Russell Wilson. And the questions that we had about Jimmy Garoppolo have not truly yet been answered this season. They weren't answered last night. They have a better defense top to bottom, but don't tell me they don't have stars. They have 11 tackles out of Bobby Wagner last night. Nobody's talking about it because we expect it from Bobby Wagner at this time. Jadeveon Clowney's making plays. This is the reason last week that I put the Seahawks at 5 and not the Packers, because I was debating between the two. It's because this team has studs on defense. When they need to make a game-changing play, they make it, and they did last night.
NFC is so wide open right now on your power standings or power rankings. Fight my 5. You have the Seahawks as the top team in the conference. You stand behind that?
I do. I stand behind that. I think the Seahawks are the best and scariest. I think they're only going to get better. They've been there and they've done that. The Niners have a chance to turn it around and get back up there, but when the criticisms about Jimmy Garoppolo and the criticisms about who they've played so far all sort of came to realization in the past couple of weeks.
And you make a good point. Experience. It's that time of the year.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, they got it. Like, they've been to the mountaintop twice.
Do you think the Vikings should have had some love? What do you think?
Interesting one.
Big win, but I don't know what the Cowboys are, right?
The Vikings lost to the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. They're a very good team, but this is rare air here. This is the best of the best.
That said, I left the Packers off last week because they lost to the Chargers. This was a miserable loss. They've got Tampa Bay this week. Should they have been off the list?
They dropped from 1 to 5. That's precipitous. I actually still think they're a top 5 team for sure. I love the Saints.
And I feel like I trust Aaron Rodgers in that offense with Aaron Jones more than I trust Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara right now. It just didn't look the same. The Saints offense doesn't look the same.
That's interesting.
While I see this other Green Bay offense, and it looks like they're just
The thing is, the reason I have them at 5 is because Green Bay lost so miserably to the Chargers and then bounced back and got it together. I think they'll course correct the
They'll
same
bounce
way
back.
their upside is.
What if they lose to Tampa?
Well, then we got problems.
We got problems.
Then see you later, fleur-de-lis off this list. More Good Morning Football up ahead of this Cowboys team built to win this